Okay, look at this bad boy. Look at the depth of that. Now, these are our new 3D carved texture boards. This one happens to be fire flowers. It is super deep. It is super awesome. And there is a specific way that make these work best. And I'm going to show you that while we're waiting for that other heart to dry. So let me go get a piece of clay for you. Okay, I went and got a slab and I just laid it right over the top of that board. Now, if you want, you could just come around that board and cut the excess off. Whoops. I went over the top, but that's okay. I'm not going to need it all anyway. But if you want to be able to see your board better, you can take that. That's where I went over it. These boards are carved really deep. So this is about 1/4 of an inch. You really need to go thicker than that. You need to really go closer to 1/2 inch. But I'm going to work with this. I'm just putting my clay up so it doesn't dry out. This clay has been giving me fits. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pony roller. These take a little bit of a learning curve to get used to. They don't need cornstarch or anything, but if you feel safer using cornstarch, go ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start lightly in the middle, working my way out. And I'm going to turn this. I could put it on my banding wheel. And in fact, that's probably a smart idea. Let me set this on my banding wheel. Okay. I'm going to just set this on my banding wheel so that I can turn this and go all different directions. I'm not pressing really hard yet. This is very deep. I'm just getting it all in here. And again, this is something you need to practice to begin with. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, it's barely marking at this point. Now I'm going to come in with my smaller roller. I can see the marks that I'm making with it so that I know what I've rolled over. Come up here. And I am starting to press just a little harder. And now I'm going to start rolling just a little harder. And again, I really should have had a thicker slab for this. Now I'm just rolling across it, trying to take some of the little bumps out. And I make sure I go all the way to the edge just in case I need that whole slab of clay. Now I'm going the other direction. Now, I'm going to just slightly lift very carefully. Ooh, okay. I'm getting a deep impression now. Now I'm going to go back with my wider piece. And I want to make sure I get out to these edges. And the first few times you do this, you might want to just be doing it with scrap clay, because like I said, you got to get a feel for these. To see. Go over it one more time. And then we'll see. I still don't always get it right either. Now, I am going to take my yellow red, clean that off. Take my yellow red, and I want to come back and smooth this out so that the bottom of my clay is smooth. See? So, kind of like compress it back in place. You'll work it just like you're compressing it. Good things come to those that are patient. And as potters, we're not really patient, are we? So I want to look and see. Oh, that's pretty deep. So I'm actually going to, I'm just going to get another board. This one happens to be Winter Berries. That was in our October box. It's so gorgeous. And I'm going to, whoops. I'm going to just use this to flip this over because I don't want to stretch that clay all out. And then I am going around and just lightly making sure it's going to come off. Just go around all the edges until I make sure it's coming off because it's awful thick. And again, I don't want to stretch it out. Just coax it. Here it comes. I feel it dropping. There. Oh, I bubbled it in the middle. That's okay. That's quite all right. There we go. Look at that. Look at the depth of that design. Now, like I see some spots that it was so deep. Sometimes I like to take my brush and just go in around any that looked like it had a super deep line. It's not a crack, it's just where it was deep. And of course, this clay is a bear. Anybody else having trouble with the new B-Mix? So I just kind of go around and smooth it back down if needed. If you don't need to, then don't do this. And that was the only place. And look at this. Is this magnificent? Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do another heart with these fire flowers. So I'm going to move this over here out of my way. Do I want to do a heart? Or do I want to do this? This is new. This is going to be in the Swoopin' series. I think this is going to be called Swoopin' Victorian Style. I don't know. I don't know if this, I haven't shown you this in clay yet, but I don't think that's going to give us enough to get down the edge. So let's just do the heart because it's Valentine's Day. So I'm getting a pin to put in here. Okay, so I have my peg in. And now let's go back to our template, lip template, our form, Cricket. No, sir. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up very carefully. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take these outer edges of floppiness off because I don't want this to flop over on me. So I'm taking this off because I don't want it to flop, but I also don't want it to stretch. No, stay in here, Tuck. Mr. Wilson just walked by the front window. Therefore, the bird is going crazy. Okay, so I trimmed these excess pieces off because when I flip this, I don't want it to stretch on me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this aside here, make sure everything's situated here. Tuck, let me grab my dog. Okay, I have this set up. I have my slab of clay here, and I want to lift it and flip it and try not to stretch it. And now I'm going to come in and around. I'm in and up so that I can get this in here where it's not stretching. Tuck, stay in here. Okay, now I am going to come around and take excess off because, again, I don't want it to stretch. And look at the depth. Look at that. In a way, it's very deep. Okay, now this is very deep texture, and I do want to be gentle with it. I'm going to find my little red rib hiding in my water bucket. No, I put it back over here. Now I got to be careful with this scalpel. I want to keep it where I can see it because it's very sharp. Lightly dip and very gently swoop. I'm barely pressing. Tuck, I see you. Come back here. Hey, I see you. Come back here. Okay. Now I'm going to swoop in just a little more. Just a swoop in. You swoop, and you swoop. Yeah, I'll get t-shirts up. I won't sing. I won't sing. Now I'm going to dip just a little so that I can go around, gather up all the little crumbs and have it slide. There we go. All right, I am going to take my yellow rib and very gently and go across the top so that it's flat. Now this one I'm not putting a foot on. And if you're concerned about the texture being tall, put the texture on the outside. make it a gorgeous decoration. And I'm going to come around this edge. Just like this. Get all the little crumbs off. All right. Let's find where, oh, I couldn't find it because I put it where it belonged. You know how that goes, right? It was where it belonged. Okay, so I'm going to come in, hit the template, and go around. I like to hold my finger or my thumb right on the outer edge of the clay. That just holds it down, makes it easier to keep it down where it belongs. And now I'm going to take this off. Woo! Look, you can already see the design on here. Okay, now I'm going to go around and clean those edges like I did last time because I can now see them. And when I come in here, when I come in the indent for the heart, I make sure it's kind of rounded. I don't come in and lift up and go back out because that'll make it sharp and create a crack or a potential crack. Okay, got it all? We're good. And I'm going to take my smoothing sponge. And I'm just going to smooth right over everything and come right down around. And I'm going to go put it aside and let it stiffen up before we flip and see what the texture does. We'll be back. All right, we are back with our fire flowers. Fire flowers. Look at that. Okay, let's see what that did. We had already taken it off to move it to dry, so I'm just going to take a piece of template material, flip this bad boy over. Remember, we're working on the black side, so if it's not ready to come off, it's not coming. It's trying. There it is. Okay. And you see again where it was. Now, if it's just way stuck, just leave it alone. It'll come off when it's ready. But again, don't leave it too awful long because you don't want it to crack. Okay. And that's all I needed to do. I wonder if this will come right out. Of course not. A lot of times what I like to do, I'm taking this out pretty wet. You really should leave it longer because this is still pretty darn floppy. But I want to show it to you, and then I'll probably put it back in here. I will just lightly go around and just pull it out just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And then, I don't know which one was my good one. And then I'll pull it, put my plucker doodad. See how easy that comes out? Look at that bad boy. Bad boy, what you gonna do when they come for you? Oh my gosh. Can you imagine when that is glazed. Oh, and look, right there in the middle is the great big flower, and it just goes out from there. And that wasn't even planned. That is just yummy. All right, so, whoops, get all that extra water out of there. Happy Valentine's Day from Sharon Hoppy Designs to all of you. Oh, I love that. I can't wait to get that one out of the bisque and see what that's going to look like glazed. All right. See you guys next week.